Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chiquis and Chill podcast. I'm Chiquis, duh. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for choosing this podcast week after week. I am very grateful. And I wanted to talk to you guys about something that is very important, and that is love. I know you may think, okay, she's talking about love because Valentine's Day is around the corner. And yes, but no, this is very different. I'm talking about the love that we all have within us, that some of us have forgotten because of situations in our lives, because of pain. And it causes us to move further and further away from love. And that's something I've been working on for really my entire life, but really tapping into it deeply for the past 2 years, especially last year. As you guys know, I was in this deep healing era. I'm still in it. Healing is something we're going to have to do for the rest of our lives. But I wanted to talk to you guys about what love really is, what it means, what it does, and when we have a lack of it, how it affects our lives. So I'm sure you guys have heard me say, love is the moving force of the universe. I say it all the time because it is. Without love, there's absolutely no way that we can continue having a happy life. And at the end of the day, all of us want to be happy. And you may think, is it love for another person? Yes, but really it's love as a whole. Okay, so let's talk about what love is, because it took me a little bit to understand this. Exactly, we're like, oh, love, you have to be love-based or have a love foundation. But what really is that? What is love? What are you talking about, Chiquis? Or what are you talking about, book, And I had to break it down. And I was like, if I'm having a bit of a difficult time understanding exactly what this book or what this podcast or this quote that I saw on Instagram, what it's really telling me, if I'm having some difficulty, I'm sure I'm not the only one. So everything begins with love, guys. That's just what it is. Creation, connection, healing, expansion equals love. Love in motion, okay? And again, like I said, if love stopped, everything would stop. So what is love? Love is patient, giving yourself and others grace. Love is kind. Love is gentle. Love is truthful. Love is present. And I had to come back to it, guys, because I was so stuck in working, in surviving for so long because I had gone through this crazy heartbreak with my mom and losing her and how everything happened, that I feel like I kind of lost myself. Not that I stopped loving, but I was abandoning myself by putting up this front of I'm strong and I have to be this way, because if I'm not this way, if I'm not strong, if I'm not tough, then people will take advantage of me. And I started getting further and further away from my authentic self. Not only me, but you too, all of us. We all are born pure, happy, joyful, unprogrammed, just our divine essence that God has given us. And it's an energy, right? And I'm not going to get too deep into this because it's a lot, but I really truly believe that we are definitely all interconnected through energy. We all want the same thing. Yes, we're all unique, but we all want to be happy. We all want to be loved. We all want to be successful. At the end of the day, we all want the same things. We're all energetically aligned, and it comes from a source that's much bigger, much stronger than us. And I know there probably are people out there that don't believe in a higher power, and I respect that. If you're atheist, then I respect that. But in reality, for me, I look outside and I'm like, I can't make that sky. I can't make that sun rise every single day. There are things that are unexplainable. And for me, that's God. God could be a woman. God could be a man, a male. God could be just an energy, whatever it is, however you see God. But at the end of the day, there is something bigger and more powerful than us. And it's what connects us. in this universe of infinite expansion, the source and the foundation of it is love. And I know it is difficult to be patient with certain people, with life, with things that we have no control over. But when you find that strength within yourself to have control of those emotions, and I'm telling you that it's not easy because I have struggled and I have to constantly remind myself of this. And when I allow the outside world to come in and affect my true essence, everything else in my life suffers. That's why every day I wake up and I connect. And I'm like, God, help me today. Help me be love-based, because I mentioned love is all these things. And I'm talking about it in every area of your life, at work, with your partner, with your children. It's choosing to keep your inner peace in moments of difficulty and choosing to believe in something much higher than yourself. And know that at the end of the day, even if people aren't the nicest, you don't allow that to change you. That at the end of the day, that's love. Love for yourself, that's self-love. Love for God, love for the higher power and that higher energy that is all within us. And that is what makes us ultimately happy, is tapping into that love source every single day. And I'm not telling you you're never going to have slip-ups and you're not going to have bad days and you're not going to fall off track. That is just life, guys. And I'm learning to accept that, to know, okay, life is life and there's pressures and there are mean people, unfortunately. They weren't always like that. And that's another part. There are evil people. There are people that do evil things, but in their essence, at their core, they weren't always like that. And I want to believe that. And I think when someone does something bad to us, I'm not going to excuse your behavior, but I'm not going to take it that personal, because at the end of the day, there are things that you need to deal with, and I'm going to have compassion for that. Am I going to excuse myself from the situation and create some space? Yes, but I don't have to add to it. I don't have to let your mood affect mine. And it's having that control and closing your eyes. And this is what I've been doing. Like when I'm like getting flustered or someone's pissing me off, I close my eyes and I'm like, take a deep breath. I'm like, I am love. I'm okay. At the end of the day, I have control of my emotions. I have control of how I react, and I choose to be love. I'm going to choose to be kind. And that is hard to do, guys. When people are mean, the ego wants to come in and you want to defend yourself and you want to react and you want to let people know what you're made of. And sometimes it's not even worth it. Not sometimes, most of the time, guys. If not always, it's not worth it. It's like, I'm not going to tap in to that or let that affect the rest of my day or drag me to that dark place. I was in a dark place at the end of last year because I made a lot of changes last year. I had to set hard boundaries. I had to make decisions that weren't easy. And I was in limbo with that, not remembering the power that I have within, which is I'm not hurting anyone. I can still do this and set boundaries and say no and still do it in a loving way without feeling guilty. And I had to like tap into this. And I started reading this book. It's from Marianne Williamson and it's called A Return to Love. And it reminded me of all of these things that I already knew, but we all need this refresher. So this is why I wanted to talk about it. Obviously, we're going to talk about self-love and how important it is to have this same patience and kindness and being truthful with yourself. And in reality, it starts with us. First and foremost is being gentle, being kind, being truthful and honest with ourselves, even those parts of ourselves that especially those parts of ourselves that we're not proud of, that we are afraid of showing to the world. It's being honest and saying, you know what? Sometimes I do this and I'm not very proud of it, but at least I can voice it and bring it to the light because that's the only way that I'm going to change it. We're not perfect, guys. We were born perfect, but then our parents raised us a certain way because of their fears. And those fears are instilled in us. And then we go to school and our classmates have their, things that they learn from their parents and they're put on us. We're little sponges. And then we start creating this human, and it's with layers and layers and layers and layers. And inside and at the core, we're just a beautiful light filled with love that just wants to be loved and wants to give love. But we have to little by little, and that's what healing is taking off those layers of things that we learned and we were programmed with that we didn't have control of when we were little. Now that we're older is when the real hard work starts. Now, going back to self-love, we all know, and I always say it starts with us. Whatever we want to reflect in our lives is whatever and however we treat ourselves. It's a mirror. Whatever it is that you want to attract in your life, it starts with you. How you treat yourself, how you speak to yourself, the thoughts that you allow to cross your mind. Even if it's a negative thought, because it is inevitable, there's always going to be negative thoughts. It's stopping them in their track and saying, you know what? No, I choose love. If that's not a love thought, out the window, I'm going to replace it with something loving. And then as you practice that more and more with yourself, it's easier to do it with other people. Other things won't affect you as much anymore. Other people's opinion won't affect you. If they like you or not, won't affect you as much. You're like, I'm good with myself. I know where my heart is. I know what I want to give. I know what I deserve. I value myself. And if I value myself, I value you. Now, talking about love in everyday life, love in relationships, listening to learn, not to react, listening to love and not control, like all those little things. And that's why I wanted to talk about love, guys, because it's like love is so simple, yet it encompasses so much. Love in parenting, for instance, guidance, guiding your children with love and not fear. And I could tell you in my household, there was a lot of fear. And again, this is not to make our parents or bash our parents, but it is the truth and it is my truth. I love my mother. I forgive her. She was doing her best. And for a long time, as you guys know, and I've been very open with you, I was a little upset and I kind of resented her a little bit. And it wasn't until last year where I was like completely just forgave and let go, because I'm tapping into my healing and understanding myself, but not blaming other people. Now my job is to learn from that and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my children or with my nieces and nephews and with my siblings. If they allow me, they're grown now. But in my household, all I knew was fear. And even in church, guys, it was, I'd go to church and it's like, okay, if I'm not good and if I don't, do this and that, I'm going to hell. So it was just like fear everywhere. And in reality, that's not a way to live, because you're being controlled instead of guided to just be a good human being, because that's what feels good, because that's what I want to attract for my life. This is all stuff that I had to unprogram and remove these layers. And my mom didn't know any better, because that's how her parents raised her. So it's just a little side note. Love and work, okay? To have integrity, not ego. We've talked about the ego here on Chiquis and Chill, and we have a whole episode on ego. It's called Ego is Not My Amigo, because it's not, guys. Ego is nothing but fear at the end of the day. Ego will cause us a lot of issues. So here, basically this whole episode is about choosing love versus your ego. Okay, because the ego will make you react in certain ways, want to defend yourself, instead of just saying, well, I know who I am. You are barking. I'm not going to bark back. I'm going to let you be. I'm not going to let you affect me, because the ego, and I know it very well, for a long time, had that little bad bitch on my back, carrying it on in my backpack. Because in my industry, especially in my genre, the industry is dominantly, men in regional Mexican music. So I felt for a long time, I have to be big, bad, and tough the way my mom was. And that's what I learned. And if I'm not like that, then people aren't going to respect me. And that is so exhausting. Like, I was like, I am so tired of having my hands up, always in defense mode. And I'm like, no, like, I want to let my shoulders rest. I want to let my soul rest. I want to just be. And if I'm trying to fit this idea into that world, it's going to be very difficult. Not that it's impossible, but it's going to be difficult. Do I want to put in that work, or do I want to just step back a little bit, do something a little different, regain my strength, and maybe go back a little stronger? And that's what I've been doing, where I'm like, okay, it could be a lot. And the ego did all of this and made me react and act in ways that my true essence and my higher self would have never. But I was in survival mode. I was doing what I needed to do to get my work done, to succeed, to level up. And I'm grateful. I got a lot done. I accomplished a lot. But when I sat down, I would think, but am I really, truly happy? Is this really me? And I want you guys to think next time when you're in a situation. It could be anything. What's a good example? I mean, it could be as easy or as simple as going to the store and there's a cashier and she's rude. She's having a really bad day. This just happened to me the other day at H&M. I was at H&M shopping with Emilio's family. And this girl was very rude. Never looked up to say hello. Like, we gave her the clothes that we were going to buy and didn't say hi, nothing. And she was rude. Just started charging us. She really bugged me. And in that moment, I was like, I'm going to tell her something. But then I'm like, you know what? You know where my mind went? I was like, that's my ego. That's my ego wanting to tap in and just tell her something because she's wrong and she's being rude, but it's a little unnecessary. I don't need to do that. And instead, I just said, well, I looked at her and I said, hi, what's your name? I made her look at me. I said, hi, what's your name? And she told me her name. I said, okay, thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful day. And she just like looked at me like I got her for a second of like, I'm like, no, this is where that whole thing of treating people the way you want to be treated. Yes. But killing people with kindness comes in. Okay. And that is hard and it gets difficult. And that's something that Johnny, my brother, told me once. He's like, you always taught me to be the better person. You always taught me to kill people with kindness. He's like, I've overextended myself is the way he sees it. Right. And he's trying to figure it out himself. But I went back to that. I'm like, damn, did I really teach him something bad? Because I was feeling bad about that. And I'm like, no, I didn't. And I shouldn't feel bad for teaching him to be a good person, to be a patient person, to be a kind person, even if someone isn't kind to you. So what I did to that girl was I made her stop wherever she was thinking, because I thought, I'm not going to take it personal. She's probably going through something. And that's what love is taking yourself out of the situation and not making it personal and saying, she has her own set of things that she's probably dealing with. How do I know that someone didn't just pass away in her life? And instead of me giving her attitude or treating her the way she's treating me, let me show her kindness and let me get her attention by like, hey, look at me. I hope you have a good day. And I looked at her in her face and I just smiled. And dude, I wish you would have seen her face. She was just like, oh, like she even went back like, oh, thanks. Like she didn't know what to say. And I felt good. I was like, okay, I chose love today. And it's not easy being the bigger person. And I don't know. I just thought about that whole thing with Johnny because I remember him telling me that as if it was a bad thing, but I think it was because people were hurting him. And choosing to be the bigger and the better person is going to bring you a lot of disappointment. It's going to hurt your feelings because people are not always nice, but you're going to feel good within yourself. And in the long term, you're going to attract a lot of that. is just by just choosing love on a daily basis. And don't think about tomorrow. Don't think about yesterday. Definitely don't think about what happened yesterday. Think about literally right now. This has given me so much peace, guys, of just saying, today, this is what I have control of today, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Right now, in this moment, I choose to smile, even if I'm not feeling it, even if people aren't being nice, even if I'm having a little, tension in my relationship, wherever the tension may be, I am choosing to love. Even in relationships, guys, sorry, I had to take a deep breath because I have a good marriage. I'm very happy, happier than I ever have been. Thank God. But being in a relationship isn't easy. And it's because you have your set of ideas. They have their set of ideas, different opinions. And a relationship is always going to take work. And it's always literally choosing that person every single day. And you got to pick and choose your battles. Not everything is worth fighting for. And that's where love comes in. That's where it's like, you know what? I could bicker about this, but that's just going to cause an argument. So I'm just going to let it go. It's not worth it. If it's something that's really hurting me and it's really affecting my mood because you're treating me a certain way, then that's worth speaking up about. But even then, it's how you deliver your message. It's how you tell the person. Are you going to tell them in a loving way, or are you going to be condescending? Are you going to be passive aggressive? Like it's, hey, Emilio, this is kind of hurting my feelings right now. I don't like how you're acting. And you've been doing this for a few days and it's making me feel this way. And if he cares, he's going to change it and correct it, and vice versa. And it's been very hard for me because in my past relationships, I will be honest, my ego took over because that's all I ever knew was to be that strong woman, that strong, independent woman that wasn't going to take shit from anyone. And that doesn't mean I'm going to lay down and let you just fucking do whatever you want either, but not everything is worth a freaking argument. Like it's not. And it took so long to like understand this is my partner. This is the person that I'm choosing every single day. And I want to be the better person for myself, for him, for us. We are a team. We're on the same team. So if I'm arguing with him, if I'm out there just talking about our business and complaining about him, guess what? I'm going to attract more of that. Instead of just saying, he's a great husband. He's a great husband. I don't have to talk about all the other little things that are annoying. He's a great husband. He loves me. I love him. We love each other. And it's like telling yourself all these positive things that come from love. A loving place, a place of light attracts more of that, not only in relationships, in everything, in your work. I love my job. I get to come and do my podcast. I get to come and talk to you guys and explain to you guys all these things that are on my mind, and you guys listen. And I'm so grateful because sometimes I'm like, I have nothing prepared. I mean, I have notes, but I rarely even look at them. And I just start talking to you guys and I'm letting my soul speak. But even then, like, it's like seeing things in just a positive way. Like I get to breathe today. I am grateful. I am grateful that I have my car to get me here. And it's really just choosing to focus on those things versus, oh my gosh, it's freaking raining. And like all I'm saying is you can either go negative path or the positive path. And it's way better to go through the positive, loving, light path. Even if people want to call you annoying because you're just so positive, like, believe me, I've been down both roads and I'm much happier being a very optimistic person than a pessimistic person. And it attracts a lot more for my life and brings a lot more success in my life when I choose to be positive and stop those negative thoughts in their tracks. And at the end of the day, that is what love is, guys. I guess I always knew this, but something just like clicked in my head where I was like, oh my God, wait. This is what they're talking about. Like you think, oh, love and cozy and just let's hug and let's kiss. And like, it's much bigger. It's a simple word, but there's so much more to this word love and having agape love, unconditional love without expectation, not transactional, love because it is, not because it gets you anything, not a romantic love, not an ego love, a soul love that only comes from the higher power. That is the love I'm talking about. And oh my goodness, I feel like I went in so many different circles just to get to this point, but I had to explain so many different things because it took me a while to really process this and understand it. And since I've been doing this, my days have changed. I feel like I look better because I'm like, I am choosing to not let certain things annoy me. And I'm choosing to like, when I catch myself, like yesterday, I was like getting a little flustered. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things to do. I got to do this. I'm like, wait, Janae, get whatever you can done. Don't try to always get everything on your to-do list done because you're going to overextend yourself. Just do what you can right now. Just breathe. I even told myself, this is exactly what I said. I was like, bitch, breathe. Just breathe, bitch. You got this. And I was like, you're good. I love you. You're going to be fine. Do what you can. Because I've lived my life, well, tomorrow and the next day and like all these things I want to accomplish. Yes, that's good. But at the end of the day, your spirit, taking care of your spirit and your soul is the most important thing. Your most important task on a daily basis is really catering and loving and taking care of your soul, whatever that means to you. For me, it's waking up, praying, meditating. That looks different. Sometimes I stretch, sometimes I breathe, sometimes I take a bath, sometimes I'm just moving, I dance in the bathroom, whatever it is to take care of my soul, to connect to my higher power. It's life-changing. And then everything else follows along. When your center is good and when you're treating yourself with love, it helps you show up everywhere and in every area of your life with love, and it attracts good things. So now that Valentine's Day is coming up, happy Valentine's Day. I hope that you guys have an amazing Valentine's Day with your loved ones, even if you're alone, you're not alone. Even if you don't have a partner, it is okay. Now that you know what type of love I'm talking about, practice this loving self-talk and not ruminate and not think of all the bad things that may be happening or that you feel lonely or that basically what I'm trying to say is don't feel sorry for yourself, because if you feel sorry for yourself, then you're only attracting more of that energy versus just saying it's Valentine's Day. I love myself. I'm going to cook for myself. I'm going to take a bath, whatever it is that you're going to do, or go to dinner with your friend or whatever, bake, whatever you want to do, but do not feel sorry for yourself and celebrate love every single day, especially on Valentine's Day. And if you do have a loved one or a husband or a girlfriend or a partner, or even if just your grandma, send her flowers. It's a day to celebrate love. And the most important thing, guys, that we have at the end of the day, that's the only thing that's going to keep this universe moving and flowing energetically and in every way. So I hope this episode was able to help you and that now you can celebrate love in a different way. And just remember that energy never dies. Love is connected to that energy. And whenever you want to tap in, it's there. And if for whatever reason you forget, just make sure you know that source will always be there eternally. And it's infinite. And tap in every single day if you can. But tap in as much as you can. And I promise you that your life will change. The way you look, the way you feel, the way you present yourself in life, it all changes. Love is a beautiful thing. And I was so scared of love for so long because I was always afraid of being hurt. And I wasn't allowing myself to be loved or allowing people to come in fully because I was keeping that from happening because I was so afraid of it because I had been hurt so much. And I'm not saying you're not going to be hurt. That's inevitable. But choose love. Always. it will always make you happier at the end of the day. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you, and happy Valentine's Day. I'll catch you here on the next episode of Chiquis and Chill. This is a production of iHeartRadio and the My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcast and follow me, Chiquis, that's CHIQUIS. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.